morning, guys. This is your teacher Naman Trivedi. As you all know me, I had been recording a lecture after a long time, like probably 5-6 days. It has been since I last recorded a lecture, so I had been running pretty busy, and owing to that, I was not able to record the lecture. So today, here we are, and I'll be recording a lecture for fungi. So this lecture will mainly comprise of general life cycle of fungi, general features of fungi, and its correlation with the different groups of fungi which has been given in your textbook. Okay, so I'll be just covering the generalized part. So once you get this part, then the rest of the part from the textbook becomes very easy. Textbook has directly given just some of the important features, I mean that is in the NCERT, but how to correlate with the life cycle, so to understand you need to go through this lecture. Okay, so and as you know, frequently here and there are always asking either an example of the different groups of fungi, or either they are asking the questions from the fungi life cycle. So it's a very important lecture, very important topic for NEET 2020, so kindly go through it. As you know, my YouTube channel is Naman Trivedi Biology for NEET. If you have not subscribed it, and if you like my work, kindly subscribe it. You can also go through my other lectures. I also teach for Gujarati medium parallelly, so I am well versed equally in English and Gujarati medium. So if you have not seen my lectures, then you can, I had already uploaded 40 odd lectures. You can go through my YouTube channel, and if you like my work, you can spread it to your friends and relatives and your other, I mean, batchmates or the classmates. So we'll start with the general life cycle and features of the fungi. Okay, yeah, so just let me turn off the video and then I can start with the lecture. So fungi, I also teach in Gujarati medium, so there are somewhere the words are mentioned in Gujarati, because I'm not that good in Gujarati, so I need to write down certain words. So just ignore that for the English medium guys. So fungi are heterotrophs because they rely on food for other organisms, okay, or other modes mainly. Either they are parasites, okay, either they are saprophytes or they are symbionts. Usually fungi are multicellular, but we have an exception. Of yeast being the unicellular. Okay, then now fungi will exhibit few things. That is, fungi will have hyphae. Hyphae is this long slender structure which is thread like, and a network of hyphae, forms mycelium, okay. So fungi will always, just a minute, fungi will always be seen in consisting of hyphae, and that network will form the mycelium. Here you can see the difference between hyphae and mycelium. This is mycelium, while this is single thread like structure is hyphae. Now hyphae can be septate or aseptate. That means if it has this sort of divisions, which is again made by mainly chitin, or what we call as fungal cellulose. As you know, fungi has the chitin cell wall. Okay, and you can see the nucleus over here and the cells over there. So this is where you can see, if you see the divisions like this, it is termed as septate. If there are no divisions, you can call it aseptate. Aseptate can also be referred as coenocytic. It can also be referred as coenocytic. Okay, just like the syncytium which comes in the cell cycle chapter, the meiosis and mitosis part. So here there are no divisions in between, so it is without septum, so we call it aseptate. Here there are no divisions, so we call it aseptate. In this case there are divisions, so we call it septate. Now if you talk about the mycelium, then mycelium can be branched or unbranched. Mycelium can be branched or unbranched. Okay, so as you can see, if mycelium shows as mycelium is complex with this sort of arrangement and branching, we call it branch. Okay, if mycelium is just this sort of structure, we call it unbranched. So it can be branched or unbranched. Also fungi will produce different kind of spores. Okay, also fungi will produce different kind of spores. So if the spores are produced outside the fruiting body, which I'll take in detail further, or they are directly located on the hyphae, we call it exogenous spores. If they are found inside some structure, we call it endogenous. So let's say if it is directly, if the spores are present like this, we call it exogenous. We call it as exogenous. If spores are found inside some structure like this sort of structure, if these are the dots which you see are spores, then it is termed as endogenous. So if it is inside some structure, we call it endogenous. If they have no covering, if they are directly located on the hyphae, we call it exogenous. So that's all from this part. The first page has characteristics of hyphae, mycelium, and types of spores. Okay, so different fungi can be exogenous, endogenous, can have branch or unbranched mycelium, can have septate or aseptate hyphae. Now the mode of nutrition, as I already told you, it can be saprophytes, it can be parasites, it can be symbionts. Saprophytes means surviving on decaying dead bodies, parasites means surviving on host organism or utilizing host organism, and symbiont in case of lichens, as you can see. Okay, or also mycorrhiza you can quote. Okay, also mycorrhiza you can quote over here, where they live in symbiotic association or mutual relationship with plant roots, or with the in the case of lichens it is with the algae. So here we are talking about the reproduction in fungi. So fungi can demonstrate three different modes of reproduction: asexual, vegetative, or sexual. Asexual, vegetative, or sexual. Asexual mode will be mainly by asexual spores. Now keep one thing in mind: fungi can produce two types of spores, that is asexual and sexual spores. Here I am talking about the asexual mode, where fungi is producing asexual spores. So the asexual spores can be, with respect to your syllabus and NEET, conidia. These are exogenously produced, as you can see, located outside. Okay, it is found on a structure called conidiophore. Then there are sporangia spores found in a structure called sporangium. As you can see, it's a sporangium, and these are what we call as the spores. Zoospores, okay, which are flagellated, they can move. As you can see, this is the flagella. Okay, and aplanospores, which you cannot move, which is without flagella, as you can see over here. So these are all asexual spores. Remember this: conidia, sporangiospore, zoospore, and aplanospore. They may ask you that conidia is an, so answer must be asexual spore. Now fungi can also show vegetative reproduction. So it is mainly by the somatic structures, like it can be by fission, it can be by budding, or it can be by fragmentation. Like budding is usually seen in yeast. Okay, fusion is commonly seen in a lot of fungi. Fragmentation is also commonly seen in a lot of different fungi. Okay, I hope you know the meaning of terms budding and fragmentation. Then there is fragmentation will be just like Spirogyra and all. Okay, budding is just like the small bud is formed, and then it will develop into a new yeast. Okay. Fission is by division of nucleus, and then two new fungi hyphae can be formed. Now sexual spores are mainly oospores, ascospores, and basidiospores. Okay, so oospores are mainly this kind of the appearance, not given in textbook, but you should know. Ascospores are found in a SI. This is what you call as SI, which is a bag-like structure in which you can see these are the ascospores. Okay, basidiospores are found on basidium. Okay, this is where you can see. Okay, or basidiocarp. The entire fruiting body is called basidiocarp, and these are all basidiospore exogenously. This is endogenous. Okay, so sexual spores can be oospore, ascospores, and basidiospores. Okay, so that's all from this part. It's a generalized top fungi life cycle I'm taking. Then you can read and correlate with the specific details of each division given in the textbook. Now we will take the generalized life cycle of the fungi. Okay, so now pay your attention. See, basically we can start with the mycelium. I will correlate it with the Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes as we go down, but it will be general. So once if you understand this life cycle, it's very easy to understand the fungi. Okay, so in the case of any fungi, normally we take that, we'll start with the mycelium because fungi will be seen in the structure which has mycelium. So fungi can have two modes of reproduction or the vegetative, but we are not talking about vegetative because vegetative reproduction is separate thing. I am not talking right now over here in life cycle about vegetative reproduction because it's a separate thing. So fungi can have two options, either sexual or asexual. So as such, vegetative also a type of asexual, as you might know. As such, as you might know, the vegetative can also be said as asexual mode of reproduction. Okay, but here we are talking with relation to the spores. So usually any fungi will first go for asexual reproduction. At a new place where it colonizes, it will first go for asexual reproduction. Why? Just to take an idea of that environment. After 2 or 3 cycles of asexual reproduction, it can switch to sexual reproduction. If it finds the things and the environment favorable, then the fungi will switch on to sexual reproduction after 2 or 3 cycles of asexual reproduction. So here it's pretty easy. Mycelium has a hyphae. Hyphae will produce asexual spores like zoospores, aplanospores and all conidiospores, as you know, conidia. And then these spores will germinate. These are haploid spores. Mycelium is also haploid. This will germinate, will develop into again hyphae, and then from hyphae mycelium is formed. You can correlate it with conidia, sporangia spores, zoospores and aplanospore. So it is the simple asexual life cycle which you can cover in this part. Okay, once again, from mycelium, asexual spores, it will be born on the hyphae or the structures, and then there will be germination of spores. It will develop into a hyphae which is haploid, and again a mycelium is formed. Now if it successfully carries out 2 or 3 cycles of the asexual reproduction, it will undergo fungi will undergo the sexual mode of reproduction or sexual life cycle. So now here we have differences. Okay, now here we have few differences. Like Phycomycetes, like if you talk about the Phycomycetes, it will produce gametes. Gametes will combine, will form zygospore. Okay, and then zygospore can develop into a, later on germinate and develop into new mycelium. So if you talk about Phycomycetes, as you know, gametes can either be, just a moment, as you can also observe here, Phycomycetes can exhibit both sexual by this mode. Now in sexual mode, Phycomycetes can produce gametes. It can have both the gametes of similar size or isogamous, or of different size, it is anisogamous, as you know we commonly use for algae and fungi this term. So in Phycomycetes, as you can observe, both these gametes which are haploid will fuse and form a diploid zygospore, and will form a diploid zygospore which can grow on like mucor and rhizopus and albugo, the examples, and grow into a new hyphae and mycelium. So this is what the Phycomycetes has been denoted over here. Okay, now predominantly we'll talk about Asco and Basidio. Deuteromycetes, as you know, they are called fungi imperfecti because we do not know their sexual life cycle stages, or either they are not exhibiting sexual life cycle. Okay, so that's why that is not the point of concern. So for them predominantly we consider the asexual life cycle. So here what will happen, as you can see, just a moment, as you can see in the case of the, okay, let me zoom it so that it will be easier for you to understand. Here you can see that there are two hyphaes which can be of same mycelium, which can be homothallic or which can be heterothallic, or of different mycelium, that is of two different mycelium of the same species of fungi, or from the same mycelium two different hyphae. So we call it opposite mating types usually. Okay, plus or minus you can use it. Okay, now these two hyphae will come together and they will combine. Here you can see, so the two cells which it has, okay, will combine and it forms this sort of structure where the cytoplasm is combined, okay, as you can see, this is the nucleus and this cytoplasm is combined. So the combination or the association of cytoplasm, that is the mixture of cytoplasm over here, as you can see, can be referred as plasmogamy, or in short, it is the fusion of cytoplasm. It is the fusion of cytoplasm referred as plasmogamy. So here you can see, here in this region it is showing plasmogamy or fusion of cytoplasm. So as I told you, it had two nucleus. It forms this sort of structure where it has two nucleus. So this is termed as, this is N and N, so this is termed as dikaryon. Why? Because it exhibits two nucleus like this, or N plus N condition. Because since the nucleus are not fused, so we call it as mainly dikaryon. So it is denoted by N plus N. After a while, it will, for a prolonged period of time, it will exhibit this dikaryon stage, and after that time duration, the nucleus will fuse. So it will become 2N structure. So it is N plus N equal to 2N. That is what we call as karyogamy. So karyogamy means fusion of nucleus. Karyon means nucleus, gamy means fusion. So karyogamy means fusion of nucleus. Here it was plasmogamy, which meant fusion of cytoplasm. So here we have karyogamy now. So it will go through dikaryon and then it will go to karyogamy. It's a diploid structure, so it will undergo meiosis. As you know, N plus N forms 2N, so it will undergo meiosis. So meiosis will obviously produce a haploid structure, and this haploid structure will form spores. Okay, these are basically sexual spores. Which will germinate, which are haploid, and then form the mycelium, which is also haploid. So this entire outline which I had given, it is for this Ascoin basidium. Well, this one was for Phycomycetes. For Deuteromycetes, we have not known all the stages or the sexual stages. We are still discovering. So as we discover, we put them in Ascoin basidium depending upon the spores they are producing or the way they are sexually reproducing, or either we keep it them as it is in the Deuteromycetes. So this is the generalized life cycle of the fungi. So now read different divisions of fungi from the textbook, you'll get a better idea. Okay, so this is what you need to understand about the fungi. Once you get this, then it's very easy to go through further in the all the specific details of different divisions. Okay, so I end this lecture over here, and everybody must be, I hope that you all are studying well. If you like my work, then you can spread my channel to your friends and relatives. Okay, and if you have not seen my other lectures, you can go through it. Lectures are there for both Gujarati and English medium, biology, NEET. Okay, these lectures are specifically designed for NEET, and I make my notes and I usually teach from my notes because I refer quite a few books along with the questions. And if you have any doubts, then you can mention in the comments. So till the next lecture, stay safe, study well guys, and if you have any problems, if you have any doubts, please write in comments. Okay, thank you guys. This is Naman Trivedi, your teacher, signing off. Okay, thank you guys. Take care.